Let's get the backpack in. This is apparently a 2-person shelter, which may be true if you're about 8-year-old. It is so much warmer in here. Take my hats off. Let's have a look. So outside it was about -1 with a wind chill of -4. This is just being in the shelter. It's already climbing up 4 degrees, 4.3. There you go. We've settled around 6.7, but it feels so much more comfortable. So I wouldn't use a stove in here, but I have seen certain survival channels that just use a single candle. And it apparently warms things up tremendously. Let's see if we can get this place toasty. There's a tea light, that's all I'm going to use. Put it down between my legs. There we go. I definitely wouldn't use a stove in here because it's too enclosed. Little experiment just to see how much difference in temperature that makes. I always wear waterproof bottoms when I'm out in the snow. You know, just sometimes you're up to your knees in it, so it stops you getting wet through when you're sat in it as well, I suppose. So I've only been, so it's been lit just a couple of minutes. Wow, look at it. 12 degrees. It's like having a wood burner in here, isn't it? That is one candle. 12.6. Apparently a candle gives off about 80 BTUs, whatever that is. But it's doing the job. I'm going to put it out though, because I want a brew. This is the perfect use case for one of these shelters. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to have to be in a real life survival situation. Right, so in my flask, most of the time I just bring hot water. That gives me the option to be able to have hot food, have a coffee, super noodles, anything like that, just by pouring hot water in. Also keeps my flask clean as well if I was to get some more water, boil it up and then put it up for another use. Right, you got to be careful though. You don't want hot water in your groin region. Now it's not very windy, but it's still blowing around a little tiny bit. So I've been in this shelter when it's been blowing a hoolie. It's not much fun, but it's better than being out in it. Cheers. That is it's a massive morale booster. Got sweat on my forehead. Let's have a look. 16.7 degrees. Can't believe there's a 17-degree swing between inside the shelter and outside. That could actually save your life. It's like being at Centre Parks. There is a little bit of condensation on the inside though, so it's not breathable at all, apart from this little tiny vent, which you can see through. Some you can get with a window. I've got no idea how 2 adults are supposed to sit in this, unless you're doing the Kama Sutra or something like that. You've got Bob Hope. So this storm shelter is really easy to set up. Just pull it out of the bag. And then sit in it. Just going to push that down with my feet. There we go. And we're out of the storm. So when I finish my coffee, I'm going to go through everything in my winter day pack. I've got one item hidden inside my jacket. That's my water filter. So pretty much all of this kind of water filter, once you've used them, it retains water in here, and then if that freezes, you know, it expands and it breaks the element or whatever it is that makes your water safe. So it will compromise that, and then you've got no way of filtering your water safely. So make sure not to let your water filter freeze. That's why I keep it close to my body. Alright, let's make a move, shall we? It's cold pretty quick. So before we check out what else we've got in the pack, quickly want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring the channel again in 2025. So if you've never heard of Squarespace before, it's a platform where everyday people like you and me can set up a website all by ourselves. I didn't actually realise how long it was. I've been using Squarespace now for 6 years, and I've got no experience when it comes to web design or coding. All I had to do was choose one of their ready-made templates. I uploaded my own photos, added some text, and within a couple of hours I was up and running. Jo's also done the same and set up a website to sell her artwork and paintings, whereas I mainly use mine to promote my YouTube channel, send out newsletters, and sell the occasional bit of used camping gear. The platform's got loads of different features. It's got an AI website builder where you just add a few prompts and it comes up with a basic design for you. It's also got built-in SEO, so my website now ranks on Google. You can upload videos, courses, even check the analytics to see where your traffic's coming from. So if you fancy having a go at building a website of your own, then click the link in the description below, or head over to squarespace.com/Paul Messner. You'll get a totally free trial, and when you're ready to go live, you'll get 10% off your first purchase. So I'm going to go through everything that I brought in my winter day pack. I'm not saying that this is the be all and end all setup. It's just what I brought for this particular trip. So if you're up in Scotland, for example, then you might need full-on crampons and ice axe and, you know, a lot more gear anyway than you would do if you're just having a more gentle hike in the Peak District. This might be overkill for some people still, but it's what I brought with me today. So we'll start off with what's on the outside. I've got a sit mat, which is good for keeping your knees warm. All this, by the way, is in my Osprey Talon 33 backpack. So you have already seen I brought a flask with me. So I always bring either a flask or a stove. I've actually brought a stove with me as well, a little wood stove. There's a fire kit, because you never know when you might need to start some kind of little fire, just to either boil some water or just to heat you up a little bit. I don't for 1 minute think that this is going to be a survival situation, but you know, for mega lightweight stuff, I don't think it hurts. So on the outside of my pack, I bring my, not crampons, these are micro spikes. I've got the ones with the little straps on them as well, because I have lost one of these before up in the Lake District. So there are occasions when you're walking back down and the path just turns to ice. And as you can see from these, this will give you some kind of grip on any sort of surface really. Just for walking. It's no good for climbing. If you're up in Scotland, like I said, you may need some proper crampons for that. What else do we have? Got some more water. Right. Gloves. So I've got a liner glove, and then I've got some thicker gloves as well. These are extremities. Both of them are extremities actually. You've already seen my little storm shelter. It's a very handy bit of kit, because you never know. Well, as you've seen, you can get the temperature up quite a few degrees warmer just by, you know, being out of the wind. The wind chill makes a massive difference actually. And what else we got? Some extremities mitts. So these have got a liner in them, which is a Prima Loft liner, and there's also, it's got a waterproof outer coating in them. So if for any reason my gloves get wet through, I've got a spare pair. And I'm not saying that you need spares of everything, but when you're cold and wet, you can be in a lot of trouble. I've got a poncho. This is the 3F UL one. Right, we've got a little goodie bag. Now in here I have got, this is my fire kit. Lighter, I've got some instant fire lighters, and I've got a few of these long lasting candles as well. They're the UCO ones, I think they last for 4 hours. What else? Oh, there's also a little wood stove in here. This is Firebox Nano, I think it's called. Another coffee. Got some paracord with carabiners, and there's my toilet kit. Food. Always bring a dehydrated meal of some description. If my feet get wet through, I've got some sealskins waterproof winter socks. There's a glove theme here. There's a very, very thin pair of liner gloves, and there's a spare beanie as well, because I sweat quite a bit on my head. So if this gets wet through, I can swap this out when I'm sat around camp or just having a breather. Now, I'm going to get shot in the comments for having spares of certain things, but I don't like to be cold. Everybody's different. Hike your own hike and all that. And then here we've just got a puffy jacket. Yeah, this is my Rab down jacket. So if I just want an extra layer, or if I get wet through again, I can take all my wet clothes off and just put the down jacket on. Keep it inside a dry sack because I do not want that getting wet. And in the bottom I have just got, this is a little Tokes pot, and it's got some spare coffees in it. So it's just a titanium pot, so if I do need to boil water with the wood stove or anything like that, then I can do that. Right, in the top of the pack I've got a buff. So a buff is brilliant. Again, I keep mentioning the wind. Let's get this hat off. You can do loads of things with this. Rob a bank if you want to. Don't recommend that though. But it just keeps the wind off your face. Use it for other things as well, obviously. Let's get that hat back on. Right, I've got a choice of whether I want a coffee, noodles, soup. So they're just some hot drinks available. Obviously I need to put boiling water into those. First aid kit, sunglasses. As you've probably seen, it is really bright today. Got my mug, more coffee, little spoon. Oh, and I've got these as well. So if it starts snowing really bad and you get, not a blizzard, but you can't always see. So I've got these like winter goggle things. Don't wear them very often, but they come with a strap and arms as well for like glasses. But they're pretty cool. They stop your eyes from getting a beating in the snow, and you can sort of see in a blizzard. If I can get it to go back in there. Is that it for the top? Methinks that is it for the top. Inside I've just got a couple of electricals. So I've got a power bank with cables and chargers for my satellite communicator, my phone, and my headlamp. So I've got a spare torch in there as well. It's a 10,000 milliamp power bank. I'm not going to show it because it's just a power bank. And then there's my satellite communicator. I've got that to auto set my location, so it pings it to Jo every 30 minutes. So she knows where I am basically. If I'm not home in 4 hours and I've not moved, she knows that something's wrong. Hip belt pocket, just got the thing for my microphone. And on the other side there should be a headlamp, and there is a headlamp, because when you're out in winter conditions, sometimes the hike can take a lot longer than you thought it would do. You know, the snow can be quite deep, it can be quite challenging. You might slip and hurt yourself, so you might be coming back in the dark. So make sure you've got a headlamp and some way of charging it as well. Spare batteries. And then just a pocket Swiss Army knife. Again, it's got another fire lighting kit on it. We go on about these fire lighting things like we need to survive here in the UK. But, yeah, believe it or not, so the Lake District last year, the mountain rescue teams, they were called out 600 times, around 600 times, and I think there was around 34 deaths. Not always due to wintry conditions, but I've found that most of the times that I've had problems, whether I've slipped, whether I've fallen, whether I've started feeling the cold, it's because I've been out in winter. So the risk is a lot higher. So I think you need just to plan a little bit more. You need to know exactly where you're going, have a few more items in your pack that you wouldn't necessarily need in a summer hike. You never know when you see the sun's just gone down and it's dropped, like feels like it's dropped 5 degrees. But you never know when you might slip, you might fall, you might break an ankle, and then you can be out in this sort of environment for a long period of time. There's no guarantee that anybody can come and fetch you. So I tend not to wander too far in the winter time. I do go camping sometimes up in the Lake District or Snowdonia, but I tend not to do it too often on my own, because you think you're better than you are and you're indestructible sometimes. And the older that I get, the wiser that I get. And if someone needs to come and rescue me, then they're also putting their lives at risk. And I don't want to be that person that has to press that SOS button on my satellite communicator. But we're all different, so you do what's best for you. So most of the time when I'm winter camping, I bring trekking poles with me. For me, they make a huge difference when it comes to stability in difficult walking conditions. They're also good for gauging how deep the snow is. And if you've got areas where you think there may be a bog or something like that, you can stab the ground with your pole. They've got me out of jail a few times. What a gorgeous afternoon. Right, I'm going to take my time and soak up the hike back. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.